Why do Muslims go around the Kaaba, tawaf? The act of circling the Kaaba 7 times is called tawaf. It is a central ritual of the Hajj, pilgrimage, and Umrah, lesser pilgrimage. It is absolutely not a form of idol worship. Here's why: the Kaaba as a focal point for prayer, Qibla. Muslims believe the Kaaba was the first house of worship dedicated to the worship of the one God, built by the Prophet Ibrahim in Arabic, and his son Ishmael. It serves as a unified direction, Qibla, for all Muslims around the world during their 5 daily prayers. This unity symbolizes the unity of God and the unity of the Muslim community, Ummah. Circling it physically represents the belief that all aspects of life should revolve around God. Symbolism of Tawaf: the circular movement is deeply symbolic. It represents the unity of believers from all corners of the earth, dressed alike, moving in harmony around a central point, equal before God. It mimics the cosmic order, like planets orbiting the sun or angels orbiting God's throne in the celestial realm, expressing the believer's submission to the divine center of their existence. The Kaaba is considered the house of God, Baytullah, not in a literal sense that God resides there, but as a symbolic sanctuary dedicated to Him. Circling it is an act of devotion and obedience. Historical and ritual significance: the ritual reenacts the actions of Prophet Muhammad and the prophets before him, particularly Abraham. It is an act of following a divine commandment and connecting with a rich prophetic history. In essence, the Kaaba is a direction for prayer and a symbol of monotheism, not an object of worship itself. Muslims pray to God, facing the Kaaba, not to the Kaaba. Why do they kiss the black stone? The black stone, al-Hajar al-Aswad, is a stone set in the eastern corner of the Kaaba. Kissing or touching it during tawaf is a tradition, but it is not obligatory and it is not worship. It's a symbolic act of covenant. The most common understanding among Islamic scholars is that the black stone is a symbol. Islamic tradition holds that it was placed there by Abraham and Ishmael as a marker for the start of the tawaf. It is often described as the right hand of God on earth, a metaphorical phrase meaning that touching it is like renewing a pledge of allegiance to God, similar to pledging allegiance to a king. Following the Sunnah, tradition, of Muhammad, the primary reason Muslims kiss the stone is because the Prophet Muhammad did so. He kissed it during his farewell pilgrimage, setting the example for his followers. For Muslims, emulating Muhammad in matters of worship is a fundamental act of faith. It is not worship. This is the most critical point. The theological ruling in Islam is crystal clear: the black stone has no divine power. It does not hear or see. It cannot benefit or harm anyone. Kissing it is simply an act of reverence for a historical relic associated with the founders of monotheism, and an act of obedience to the prophetic example. A famous incident involving the second caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab, perfectly illustrates this point. While kissing the stone, he said aloud, "I know that you are a stone, you can neither benefit nor harm. Had I not seen the messenger of Allah kiss you, I would not have kissed you." This statement is widely taught and cited to emphasize that the act is purely one of emulation, not attribution of any divine power to the stone itself. Directly addressing the concern of idol worship, shirk, the accusation of idol worship, shirk, is the gravest sin in Islam, the one unforgivable sin if maintained until death. The entire message of Islam, as preached by Muhammad, was to eradicate the idol worship that had become prevalent in pre-Islamic Arabia. The Kaaba itself was cleansed of all idols when Muhammad returned to Mecca. Therefore, Every ritual of Hajj is designed to be the absolute antithesis of idolatry. It is a profound declaration of devotion to the one, immaterial God. The physical acts, walking, kissing, running, are all forms of worship prescribed by God, with their spiritual meaning rooted in the history of His prophets. To conclude, circling the Kaba, Tawaf, an act of unified worship around a divinely ordained focal point, symbolizing life revolving around God. Kissing the black stone, a symbolic act of pledging allegiance to God and following the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, with no belief in the stone's power. For a Muslim, these rituals are acts of pure monotheistic submission, deeply rooted in history and symbolism, and completely devoid of any element of worshipping the physical objects involved.